What up, Suns fans? We are back. NBA season is finally back after a 4 or 5 month hiatus. Well, I wouldn't call it a hiatus, but a long off season full of many trades, especially for the Phoenix Suns, that has all culminated in today. Today was the very first preseason game for the Phoenix Suns, and we faced the LA Lakers, and we walked out with the dub, boys. It's good to say that again. It's good to be here again. On my was this left? On my left, it's been a while, as you could tell by that whiteboard. Um, but there is a lot to talk about here. So first off, let's just get a little house cleaning over with. There's currently NFL season going on. So if you've been a longtime viewer of this channel, you will notice that I am missing my co-host. So he is off doing his own Cowboys related coverage. I'm covering Suns. So I'm here alone. There's currently a Suns game still going on right now. But that is besides the point because we're here to talk about Suns freaking basketball, baby. I've missed it. I've missed this feeling. And, I've tried going into this game with an open mind. It's a preseason game. I'm just loading up that copium real quick. It's a preseason game, whatever, all that work. But I think this game, first of all, if you watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about here, and you'll probably know more about it if you didn't watch the preseason game. But if you will watch the regular season game, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. But I know it's just an off-season game or a preseason game, but there's a lot to unpack here. The Suns have had a major off-season. We didn't get to talk about it that much on this channel because I was enjoying a vacation. um, but a lot of things for the Suns happened. We got a point guard. No more Point Book or Point Beal. Get that out of here. We got a new head coach. Okay, Mike Boltenhauser. We did cover that on a very shaky live stream that I myself, did. But so new head coach, new. I already forgot my first point. We got free agents. Tyus Jones is now the starting point guard of the Phoenix Suns. We completely skipped that because I still was in vacation. And we got rookies. There's just a lot to be excited about Phoenix again. We have the stars. We have rookies. It's especially if you're someone who's been keeping up with the Twitter and the other Phoenix Suns social media, you could see it for yourself that energy's different this year. I don't know what the frick happened with behind closed doors with Frank Vogel, but glad he's gone now because the vibes are back here in Phoenix. Things are gelling again. It's beautiful. It's fun. Okay. I think that should be enough table setting to get into where we are now. So, the Phoenix Suns game, right? It's the preseason. Starters and the star players will only really play until like halftime, right? Because there's injuries and yada yada yada. It's preseason games; they don't really matter much. They're just generally there to stretch your legs after the long off season. So getting right off, I've have this marked by quarters. By the way, I want to talk to the things. Um, first impressions. First impressions are usually really important in life, and I think first impressions here were a little shaky. So we had our first starting lineup. We got a glimpse at our first starting lineup of Tyus Jones at point guard, book and shooting guard, Beal in small forward, KD at power forward. I mean, a majorly change in the backcourt. That's the biggest change because we have a point guard now that um, doesn't turn over the ball constantly. So, but another big thing that we kind of missed, or another big thing that kind of affected this game being truly a true glimpse into what the Suns can be in the upcoming season, is Nurkic has, I believe, a day or two before this preseason game was announced to have a middle finger energy or an injury. So that ruled him out for this game. According to Mike Boltenhoser, he's making good progress, which I mean, not much to glean from that other than just to hope that he's back before the preseason game. That's really all that matters. I don't care. Nurk can be injured all he wants, just as long as he's back is by the regular season. Okay. So that means that our new off-season acquisition, Mason Plumlee, will be stepping in for today's game, and so we saw a lot of him. First impressions, he was all right. All right, I'll just lay it down on him. There wasn't that much that impressed me about Mason Plumlee. He only played 14 minutes, was 1 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from free throw, 4 rebounds, 2 defensive, 2 offensive, and 4 points. He was all right. He was a little shaky, but leagues better than Drew Eubanks, which I think if you've seen last year's Suns basketball, we all know Drew Eubanks, anything was better than him. Anything was better than Drew Eubanks. That is how much we hate Drew Eubanks. Enough said about that. Now, also quite disappointingly, KD came out kind of cold. He started the game like 0 of 3. What is this? It's not a good look, but just hopefully it's like off-season rust, even though KD and Book have come off of a Olympic summer. But it's just hopefully it's rust. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because it's the preseason. So as long as at least in one of these up 4 coming games, we see him like at least, look somewhat like KD, we'll be fine with that. I'll be fine with that. That's really all we can ask for from KD. Book also looked great this game. He came out blazing and drilling shots, and it's Suns basketball. It's beautiful. It's beautiful seeing just art. And we also got to see a bit of Beal, who was also in the game. So Beal was a big question mark for most of last season, mostly because he was injured. And he also got a lot of the blame for last year's postseason. And besides that, that's a whole other can of worms. But apparently Beal, from a social media, has looked happier. Don't think we've seen this kind of happiness from Beal, which again makes me wonder what the frig was going on with Frank Vogel's whole system. Bill's much more happy, and he says, according to interviews, that he's been wanting and striving to have a more fun season this game or this season. So that's all good for him, and he's dropped even a couple of weights, saying that he wants to become more explosive. That's great. I think it's just kind of now he's still figuring himself out. He's still trying to fit in, because during the course of this game, he was being really passive in the first quarter. He really just kind of filled in the gaps. Just tried filling in the gaps. He wasn't really aggressive on any of the plays, on any necessary. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Um, he wasn't aggressive on any types of plays. Really, he just remained passive. Which now that he doesn't have to hold the ball, I would want to see more of Beal become more aggressive. So I want to see that side of him. I want to see that side of him. But, for the first quarter, now this is an interesting part that I saw become a similar trend during the course of the game is that Mike Boltenhoser had really started to pull Bill, Book, and KD from the game early and really started mixing it up with our bench. And that was really interesting to see. I mean, it was kind of bad because that's when the Lakers started to kind of destroy us with Bron and AD. That's a whole other story, as we literally don't have an answer for AD and LeBron. Well, LeBron, he kind of had an answer. LeBron wasn't. In my mind, I didn't think LeBron was that big of a problem tonight. He could be a lot more coming up into the season, but the big obvious one was AD for me because he just really opened up the area, and like the announcer said on one part, if you watched on Arizona AZ Family, that TV channel, um, they also mentioned how the Lakers just were running, basically doing layup drills. They had anything in the paint, and we couldn't really do anything to stop it. Not really what you like to see. Um, Also, a lot of the shots just weren't falling in the first half. The offense was kind of clingy, it's kind of slow, sluggish, and it was just they didn't get really anything going. There wasn't much cohesion. Book just kind of carried us in the first half, but the Lakers had D'Angelo Russell, and those kind of two had their back and forth during the first quarter. So a little worrying as a first quarter of the preseason to just have sluggish offense and have Lakers boys in yellow freaking running up and down the paint and near the rim. Not really something you want going into the offseason. But also, you gotta recognize that Mike Budenholzer was trying out different people. The Suns got a lot of people, and some of these people are trying to fight for the last Phoenix Suns roster spot. So, then again, you kind of have to let these guys prove themselves, give them a chance. And plus, also, Mike Budenholzer is the coach of the Suns team. So going forward, he has to know what each player can give. So I found that really an interesting strategy that also plays into kind of the later halves of these games, which is the interesting part. The first quarter, it was all right. And the second quarter wasn't much better. Although things did start to settle, the rookies that did come out to play, like Ryan Dunn, that we drafted this year, and Oso, I'm not going to attempt his last name because I don't remember how to say it, but Oso and Ryan, they also started out a little shaky. A big concern of Ryan Dunn was his 3-point and shot making abilities, but he quickly silenced everyone when he stepped on the floor in quarter two and made a three. In fact, he made 2 threes. On the stat sheet, he is 2 of 6 from 3. So Uh, what's that? Was it like 33%? Not bad. That's not bad. That's like league average, I'm pretty sure. Um, so it is very great to see Dunn at least trying and being confident to make his shot. There's also Oso. He had a very interesting game. I think a lot of people going in were more excited about Ryan Dunn because he's the higher draft prospect. We drafted him a little more sooner than we did Oso. And, Oso had a really interesting game. He has a lot of passing expertise. He's really good at passing. He got a little showboaty at certain parts in the third quarter and the fourth, but sometimes he has a nice pass, and that's really great. And and over the course of the game, he became more and more of a lob threat, which you really love to see with, Phoenix actually having a point guard rotation. So that is very lovely. We love to see all of that. Um, Speaking of those point guards, Tyus Jones is amazing. I can't believe we got him. I still can't believe we got him. But seeing him step out there and just, we're so back. We're so back. He did have one turnover, and that's kind of what he's known for, not having many turnovers, but he did have a turnover. It's the preseason. It is fine. But he's 3 of 3 from 3. Amazing. It was just amazing just to go and see him work. And also, uh, I'm forgetting most of these names. But Morris, number 23, he also had a pretty good, nice game. 2 of 5 from field. He even attempted 3, but he managed the floor every time he was out there, especially during the later parts of the game. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're kind of jumping to past the second quarter and more into the third quarter. So now there's no starters. It's the third quarter. So it's just all our bench. The Lakers bench, returning bench, and their 2 rookies. I don't know if they added anyone else. I don't really care either. But it was the Lakers bench against our bench. And this part of the game was really interesting because at this point, the Lakers just had their starters out for like half the game. And that put us in a pretty big hole because they're the starters against our bench. So they kind of had a huge lead by the halftime. But it was around the third quarter when it was just our bench against their bench that we started to gain the lead back. There was different mix and matches, which I'm happy that Mike Budenholzer, wanted to try a bunch of different things for the third quarter. So we got to see a lot of different names rotate in and out. We got to see a little bit of Royce returning back. I mean, to add onto that, Royce, I love the Royce and the Dunn defensive duo. They had some great plays together, They were just really electric out there. So we got to see some Royce, Okogie. Now, Okogie is a bit of a hot topic here in Phoenix. I mean, we're in Phoenix. What part isn't hot? But Okogie is a hot topic here because for most of the game, he was really mixed. I was mixed on him. He impressed me with his first shot being a made 3. But besides that, he just kept taking threes, and he looked like old Okogie had returned. But it was during the later moments of the game where he really started to become dominant, and it made me appreciate him. I wish I had a photo of that play that Oso and Okogie had in the later half of the game, because Okogie is like freaking jumping up, and there's like two Lakers, and he's like squeezing his way through, and he lays it, does a reverse layup. Like, what the frick is this? What is that? That was freaking crazy. I almost stood up. Holy frick! He just pulled that out of nowhere. So, I think Okogie had a pretty good night. Um, Hopefully, it stays that way for going into the season. He actually has led the Suns two nights in most points. He ended the night with 15 points, two of three from three. Very interesting. I did not know that. But a 6 of 9 from the field and 1 of 2 from the free throw line. So Okogie had himself quite the night. I hope that it stays, because I would really love Okogie to contribute to this team. He didn't have that much to show last year, from basically being demoted from starting lineup to then bench person to basically a last minute resort, just throw out third string guys. So hopefully Okogie keeps it up. We got to see a little bit of bowl action is back, and we love to see it. Although he didn't do much other than grab 6 rebounds randomly. I mean, not randomly, but just he came out on the floor and started grabbing. He'd start cherry picking, grabbing basketballs like they're apples from trees. Like, what the frick? I guess it isn't that surprising considering Bol length. Um, Grayson Allen. Let's talk about Grayson Allen real quick here. Grayson Allen over the offseason got a little beefy. He got chunky. I do not. Well, maybe not chunky is the right word, but he bulked up. All right. He is pretty hefty. All right. He's a second layered Grayson. All right. He had an all right game. 1 of 4, 2 of 7 from the field. Hopefully it's just like rust and he's just warming back up. But I would love to see more of Prime Grayson back out on the fields. You know, we missed him a lot during the postseason, and it would be really great to have another 3 points, a miracle of an off season for him. As last year he did lead the league in 3-point percentage, so I would love for him to have another year like that. Okay, so now there's 2 more people that I want to bring up here, and these two, they really impressed me. One was really unexpected. The other one was okay. Actually, I want to describe it as okay. It would be more like the story of tonight. Damian Lee missed the entire season last year. As we all know, or if you don't know, now you know. Last season, Damian Lee, in the preseason, this same time around this last year, he suffered a meniscus problem with his leg, a leg injury, a really bad leg injury in layman's terms. And he ended up missing the entire regular season. We were promised him back by the postseason, but that never came true. And, it's been a full year. And going into media day, there has been a lot of coverage about Damian Lee, as now he's back. He's made a full recovery, and from what I've seen from media day, he has had an incredible story about his whole recovery process. I didn't indulge in too much into his background and that kind of story, but from what I've seen, it's just crazy. It's crazy, absolutely, see him come back from that injury and then have a game like this. So, a little context: I'm a kind of a new, I'm yeah, kind of a new Suns fan. All right, this is basically my second full season that I'll be watching the Suns. Uh, but I joined I joined this fandom right before Damian Lee injured himself. I didn't get to see that much Damian Lee. I didn't know his game. I didn't know what he was. He was on the team, and I saw he get injured. I didn't know how to feel because I'm a freaking new Suns fan. Like, what am I else? What else am I supposed to think? But I was really looking forward to see what he could bring to the table. From what I seen from uh, past seasons, he was really good, and I wanted to see it for myself. Well, last season came in the wins, and here we are, a full year later, and just seeing Damian Lee absolutely snipe from outside. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I can't be happy for Damian Lee himself. So I am excited for a full season of Damian. Fingers crossed. Okay, so he finished the night with a 2 of 3 from three and 4 of 6 from the field, along with 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 10 points. So an overall positive. Great seeing him. Now, the last part of this, last player I want to talk about is. Okay, I'm probably going to get these names better throughout the season, but since I'm doing this right after watching the game, I kind of don't know the names. So I'm going to try my best here. It's Colin Gillespie. Gillespie? Gillespie. I think it's Gillespie. Gillespie. Whatever. Third string. All you need to know is basically third string point guard. Right? We have our starting point guard in Tyus Jones. You have Monte Morris as our bench, and then basically last resort, Colin Gillespie. Now, as a third string player, you don't really expect that much, you know. It's I don't know that much about his background going into this because honestly, I didn't expect that much from him. You know, probably just like another Sabian Lee situation here. But holy crap! In the fourth quarter and basically third quarter, the moments he came into the game, it was amazing. I didn't expect him to have like such crafty shot making. It really surprised me for what was supposed to be a third string uh, point guard, and he's freaking dishing them out to the Lakers bench, which is really something interesting. And that's a common thing I found with today's game, is that there's just so much potential on this team again. I mean, there was potential last year, and that's why most of us were disappointed with the Suns last year, is because they had so much potential. But now there's more potential. There's so much potential in the potential players. So it's really interesting to see what these younger guys on the team are able to bring to the future of Suns basketball. So, Colin Gillespie, I'll get the name right someday, dude. 12 points, right? 5 assists, 4 rebounds. And him and Okogie during the late stages of this game fought for the Suns to even come back, to even eke out tonight's win. So, absolute cinema. Absolutely loved it. I loved every bit of it. Um, just amazing potential. I really liked the second half of this game because it just showed what our bench is. And it really compared to two because at the halftime, that's what it was. It was the bench. And, Lakers were just kind of set on winning. They had their. Because let's be honest, the Lakers offseason has been completely trash. They didn't add anybody new, like any groundbreaking off-season agents. They've only had kind of mainly their rookies and their new head coach. Which I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say a hot take about Bronny. Okay, that's something for another day. Okay, Dalton connects. No, he's all right. All right, that's my 2 cents, and that's where I will probably leave it. I don't listen, man. If I was, I'd talk more about them if I was a Laker fan. All right, but I'm not. I'm a Suns fan, so I'm talking about the Suns. Okay, but I think tonight really led into like, okay, so this is like the ceiling of the Lakers. Because the Lakers, the reason why they led throughout so much through the game is because they have the same roster. There's nothing new on their team. So what are they going to try differently? It's just the Lakers in regular season form. So that's why they were destroying us so bad. But what I really loved is that our new bench guys, our rookies, were able to bring it back. I mean, if this was a regular season game, they could have just subbed in Bronny. Well, not Bronny. They could have subbed in LeBron and AD and absolutely destroyed us. But the fact our bench was able to slowly and mount the comeback against the Lakers bench is really aspiring and really awesome to see how much potential, there's the word again, potential there is in our new roster. It's great. I love it. We're back, right? Season saved. Championship. We're coming back. So now we get into a little more funky territory. Because there's still some people that ESPN lists as Suns as part of the Suns roster. I don't know who these guys are. Okay, and they didn't get to play. So that's where the conversation ends there. Although we got to see Frank Kaminsky. But again, another player I've never seen before. But people are hype about him, and from what I've seen on Twitter, he's a really cool guy. The vibes, they're back. What can I say? And he had a pretty good night for himself. I mean, he was a little slow out there, but I mean, 2 of 3 from the field, and he made a 3, which I'm pretty sure he's known for. So, you won't see me complaining in tonight's game. But looking at the overall stats, the Phoenix Suns attempted 39 threes and connected on about 41% of them. We love that. We love more threes. That's how you win the game in today's modern NBA, at least, or unless you're the Boston Celtics. I mean, not much of the team stats you can glean much from. Since most of the game was from the rookies. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but that is my family currently watching the Cowboys game. We're going to ignore that. So, yeah, the Suns are back. We're freaking back. the Suns, as I see it right now, are in a fantastic position in both just star talents and young potential. And I really hope and I look forward to Mike Budenholzer bringing Phoenix its first championship. Do I think it's possible? Um, I'm not usually a fan of making championship predictions in freaking October. So we'll see. I still haven't gotten to take a look at all the other teams. Suns is kind of the only one I've watched so far, but I haven't seen much of from the Celtics or from the Knicks and the crazy offseason they've been having. So this season will be interesting for sure. But I think that's it. That's it. That's all I want to say about today's game. Um, if just for a second, I am checking the dates once again. So our next opponent is against Detroit, and that is in 2 days on October 8th, which is Tuesday. So we will be back on Tuesday night to cover the next preseason game, game 2 of the preseason against Detroit. I don't know why we're facing Detroit again this year in the preseason. Probably because Matt Ishby is from there. But it's an easy opponent. So, yeah. That's we'll be doing it. That will be it for tonight. So, hope you guys have a good night. Suns victory and have a good one. All right? We'll see you guys next time on Tuesday. See you then.